Cool, Tone, you're up here now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Ah, at last.
Hey,
It
so
has taken
so
some time to
so
get.
force stopping the app helped?
No, I'm using another phone. I didn't want to fiddle around with this phone, just,
Okay,
was not sure whether it will crash again later on.
right. Any other guests coming on besides Joe and
Yes, so
myself?
Joe is here. Yeah, Joe is there. I did not get any response from anyone else. So I'm still hoping that that Fred might join us. He did not reply at that point of time, but hopefully he will join us.
Gotcha. Yeah, we should reach out to Chris Chiavaco again. He did a great job last time he was on.
Oh yes, 110%. We will surely do that.
Uh,
I'll just
yeah,
yeah.
we'll try and bring the old people back. Also, yeah, guys, feel free and reply and tag like who you would want to hear on one of these spaces in the future.
Joe has I sent you a speaker's invite. Did you receive it?
Well, if he can't speak, then he won't be able to answer you.
Yeah, he at least he'll be able to hear me and he'll be like, oh, did he? And checking his notifications, I guess. All right, we can start off till then. Hey Joe, how are you?
Hey, Joe's on.
Yes, at last the
Yes,
gang
good
is
morning,
here.
everyone, or good
Sorry, Joe, it
afternoon,
took
depending
us a
on where
little
you're
bit
at.
of time to get everything sorted. But at last we are here. So, guys, how's your week been? How's the weekend been, Tone? Nice.
Yeah, it's been a good week. Bitcoin is, hanging in there. The stock market was super interesting. It's exactly what Joe and I discussed on the last spaces here that I'm sure we're gonna revisit.
What about you, Joe? Do you want to revisit the stock market first, or tell us how the weekend week was? Joe, you're on mute if you're trying to speak. He might be on mute due to some reason. So, before we start, guys, let me just introduce the panel to you and obviously what we are. So, we are the Financial Summit. We basically are a luxurious event that happens every year, and next one is going to be in Maldives. If you plan to join us there, where you will get to meet a lot of people from money managers to hedge fund managers to traders to VCs to technologists who are basically trying to build their own things, and to other professionals from healthcare to sports science. We basically have everyone there. So if you are interested to visit such an event, and if you are willing to learn a lot during that week, do go to our website, thefinancialsummit.com. And if you are interested in looking at Tone on a YouTube channel, you should visit the Financial Summit YouTube channel, because Tone has been sending out some alpha on YouTube with alpha numerics. It's fun, it's an everyday show, and there will be a lot more things at the Financial Summit YouTube channel. So do visit us there. So let's start off, Tone. The best thing that happened on Friday was, I think, Meta. Because I feel if Meta was not pumping, we would have seen a very, very bad day, at least from what the heat map was looking at. Like everything was going red, apart from Meta, Amazon, Apple, a few others, the bigger things. So Meta earnings, Tone. Q4 earnings revenue is 40.1 billion, surpassing the estimated 39 billion revenue. EPS 5.33, exceeding 4.91. And for the first time ever, Meta has decided to give dividends of $0.5 per share. Your initial thoughts on Meta, because they've had some bad time in the last couple of years as well.
Sure. Yeah, Meta was definitely the big bright spot for the S&P 500. Also, I believe the jobs report came out and it was, pretty decent for a bullish stock market as well. That helped. Nvidia did really well as well. Tesla, on the other hand, has been the one dragging down, but Tesla's overall market cap isn't, as big as Meta's. So I'm not a fan of Meta. I'm not a fan of Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not a fan of Facebook, and the companies that they bought, like WhatsApp and Instagram. The fact that someone like Zuckerberg is running these companies, he definitely doesn't have the freedom mentality like someone like Elon Musk. So that's a big concern. But as far as the stock is concerned, it's doing great. And this is what I said over a year ago. It started during a pandemic and it continued because during the pandemic, a lot of these companies, they had to become lean. Their stocks crashed. Nobody was coming into the office, and the senior management realized that A, they're overpaying a lot of people. B, they're running an adult daycare center with private chefs and PS5s and pool tables, foosball tables, like in the movie Silicon Valley, and they put it to an end. I'm sure Meta is really utilizing all kinds of AI tools that's helping them get rid of more employees and running a much leaner company. They're a digital company. They barely need an in-person office. Uh, um, I mean, I don't know. I haven't like looked into the fundamental analysis, but there's no reason for them to be in Palo Alto or San Francisco or that overpriced market. And they probably shut down a lot of physical locations. They got rid of a lot of useless employees, probably a lot of middle management, and now their earnings are through the roof. So those are just my general thoughts. But like I said, I'm not looking into their fundamental analysis. That's not what I do. I'm a TA guy, and when a stock is reaching all-time highs, I will always be bullish, unless it's coming up on an MRI top, and I'd have to walk over to my computer to check on that. So let me know if I should do that. But I'll hand it off to Joe.
Oh, you should do that, Tone. You are our in-house
Yeah,
TA
Tone,
expert.
I
We
couldn't
need
hear
to
the
know.
question. I think maybe I need to jump down and come back up. What was the question? I only hear
It
you.
was about Meta. Can you hear me?
Can you hear our host, Joe? If not,
No,
oh,
I
okay.
can't. I
So
can't hear
let
him.
me let me repeat the question, and then after you answer it, jump down and come back. So the question was
Will do.
basically about Meta and how Meta was like the huge driver of the big stock rebound at the end of the week with their earnings and how well they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't discount the fact that Meta had outsized influence on the move of the S&P and the Nasdaq. I don't have anything to add from a fundamental perspective. What you addressed with respect to Meta, I do, want to talk about the tweet I put in the nest about the QRA because to me, I think that explains the vast majority of the move you saw in equities over the week. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
Joe, you want to rejoin the speaker once after disconnecting? That would be great because I have questions for you.
Oh
So,
yeah,
Tone,
Joe,
carrying,
jump down and come back.
I have approved. I hope he can hear. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Joe?
Yes, I can.
Oh, lovely. So,
Excellent, and you
I
hear me as well, I hope.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. So, Tone, so all these earnings, like they did not have any specific gains when it came to user base. User base was similar. They did not have any such gains coming from ad revenue, which would have highlighted their earnings. But more or less, their earnings are basically driven by their new project called MTAI. It's a first generation AI inference accelerator that they are basically working on, and they're creating a new language for it called Llama 2. So that's the technical side of things. Now, all these companies are creating their own versions of these AIs. And also on top of it, Apple Vision Pro, to be honest, I am still not, sold for those things, but that sort of scenario is coming. Do you think these companies are all running in the same direction, trying to achieve the same thing, and it's just going to end up like a horse race? Tone, you're muted.
Um, sure. Yeah, no, look, a lot of these tech companies, they're all competing for the same thing. It is going to be about AI, who can get rid of the most employees utilizing AI tools. Meta is going to compete with Microsoft. They're going to compete with Google. They're going to compete with Apple. And clearly, Google is way down. Google hit an MRI sell on a weekly about 3 days ago, right before earnings. Google crashed on earnings, and Meta is doing incredibly well on a weekly scale. It still has a few more weeks of upside, and then probably it's going to top out. And yeah, look, it's all going to be AI driven. And but like I say AI, but I'm also realistic about AI. Like it's not going to be like any kind of artificial intelligence. It's just a terrible word for AI. I would replace the word AI, artificial intelligence, with the word digital automation. DA instead of AI, because that's what it really is. There's no actual intelligence here. It's just the best computer written algorithm that can solve a problem that a human used to solve. They're not independently thinking. I just don't believe in that.
Joe, what's your view on these companies basically being driven towards AI and all of them trying to fight for the same end goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think that nails it. I mean, they're all, it's an arms race, and there are very few companies.
Oh
I mean,
crap! I don't hear Joe.
you can't hear
I
me
gotta come down and come back.
about this. Anyway, what I was going to say, it is an arms race. There are very few companies that are even in the game. Even the ones that occasionally fall behind, and Tony's referencing Google and others, they're still in the game, right? And the reason why I think this is significant, and it's missed on a lot of investors, is that when you're I keep reading all these articles about the poor breath in the market. Now the market, the median stock isn't performing very well, and it's all concentrated. There's a reason for that, because those companies have such moats and competitive advantages that they so far outpace their competitors, they're not even in the conversation. They're not even in the game. So from that standpoint, I think all this spilled ink over how the Russell or other indices are not performing well. Who cares? I mean, the chief architects of productivity gains and growth is going to be driven by these handful of companies in a very concentrated way. And to me, like it's not, they're not going to be usurped by some of the other people that are 10 years behind them, some of the other companies that are innovators. To me, because they'll just buy up those entities. The biggest threat to these mega cap giants, the mega cap tech giants, is regulation and government seeking to try to break them up. And we've seen historical parallels to that. And to me, that like outside of that, I expect for the foreseeable future to the gains to continue to be concentrated in those mega cap tech. And if you don't want to play the game of trying to pick whether it's Meta, Google, or Facebook, Microsoft, you can, that's why you buy the index, right? Because the index is going to adjust on a market cap basis to basically pick the winners over time. Anyway, that's just my thoughts.
No, 100%. So, Tone, I guess you're on your laptop or your PC right now, that lovely gaming PC. By the way, guys, if you see Tone's laptop, it's amazing. So, Tone, you're on mute. If you are at your PC, I really want to
I am.
ask you for three charts. Number one, Meta. What do you think of it? Number two, Amazon has been looking lovely in the last few days, but then there is third, that's Google, which had a very very bad earning. But I feel it looks bullish. So tell me, what do you see there?
Yeah, so look, on the tech side, the one that looks the most bullish is actually NVIDIA. NVIDIA had a little bit of a break. It took like a 2 week pause, and then it broke out above all-time highs, and now it's doing really, really well. Meta is doing incredibly well as well, but Meta barely took a pause. They didn't even pull back. I think Meta is likely to top out, and NVIDIA took a multi-month break. But I think this move in Meta is going to top out Meta in a couple of weeks. And NVIDIA and AMD, actually, NVIDIA is also looking like it's going to top out in a couple of weeks based on TA. Google is not looking that strong right now. It's consolidating. It's still creeping up. It's still bullish, but it's not bullish like the others. Tesla is, of course, a concern. I think Tesla is going to rebound here as well. I just think the markets are super bullish overall. I mean, Netflix is doing incredibly well. They're not back to all-time highs yet from 2022, but Netflix is doing really, really good. And Amazon had a monster rally this week. Again, not back to all-time highs yet, but they'll get there. You're muted now.
Sorry, I was thrown out of the space. I had to rejoin, just FYI. So I did not hear like the last few bits that you said. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool.
Yep, all good.
Lovely. Okay, Ton, I did not hear about the last. I heard until you said that Google is consolidating. After that, I could not hear anything. So, if you don't, it's okay not to repeat, but I should be,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
okay.
But I want to go to the next question, or to be honest, I should ask one follow-up question for the same. So, we know right now, as Joe talked about, the breadth of the market is not looking good, right? When the biggest strength of any market as per technical analysis is the breadth. Like breadth of the market shows you how strong the market really is, because sometimes the market can have dead cat bounces, or they can have like a they can basically be breaking all-time high, but just because of a few stocks, right? The index can do that because of the weightage. Now, on Friday, most of the market was red apart from these stocks. Is that a worry sign for for people like us, for the people like retail investors, that it's just a few stocks pulling the market weight? Joe, you want to go first for this?
Sure. I mean, I don't think so because, well, I guess it's a worrisome sign if you're, if you're in equal weight stocks or you're a value investor, or you're, concentrated in what is quote unquote cheap, which is cheap for a reason. You got to remember why it's cheap. Um, I mean, maybe it's a worse sign for you, but to me, I think you're seeing plenty of indications that in the near term, while there may be some consolidation, I'm very optimistic for the broad index, particularly the S&P, for the next 6 months. Like we can go into the reasons why, broader macro issues why I think that it's going to surprise people to the upside. But I mean, I guess it all depends on if it's concerning to answer your question. Depends on what you're holding. If you're holding a bunch of junk and stocks that I think will continue to underperform relative to the mega caps, yeah, maybe it should be concerning for you.
Don, any insights on that?
So, while there are some legit reasons that people think that when that happens, when the markets are a little top heavy, I personally don't see that as a main reason to sell. So, for me, this is not really a problem because I think because of the AI craze, you're going to see this. I've actually been expecting this, where it's going to be a few top heavy stocks that are going to drive the market because these companies buy out smaller companies. So while it's good to see a more level playing field, I guess, like a more, well, like all the companies rising, I don't really like, look, the name of the game is making money and identifying when a top comes. And if you start selling now because of this metric, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that you could be selling like a year too early. Like this can happen for a long, long time where a few stocks are driving the market higher and then the big company just crashes, right? Like, so for example, I think YouTube is in a not YouTube. I think Google is in a little bit of trouble, and one of the reasons is YouTube. YouTube now actually has competitors, and YouTube, I believe, is a decent driver of revenue for Google. Once again, I'm not a fundamental analyst. I'm just using common sense logic that YouTube gets to advertise on your channel. And I know that YouTube pays you absolutely nothing. Like people that think you make money from YouTube ad revenue, these people clearly have never made YouTube videos. Uh, like you need 1 million views on YouTube before the ad revenue is making you anything substantial. But there's ads all the time. YouTube now sticks ads every 30 seconds in some hour-long videos. I mean, it's becoming a disaster. I actually turned off YouTube ads on my videos because they were stuffing ads in the middle of my videos, which I didn't want them to do. And I even said, no, only one ad in the beginning. And YouTube was still stuffing those ads in the middle. So I think people are turning off YouTube. I think people are going to YouTube competitors like Rumble and some of the others. And I think YouTube is in a little bit of trouble. I mean, they still have the Google Android system, but I don't know how much revenue that brings in. And I think a company like YouTube is in a little bit more trouble than once again. I don't know who uses Facebook these days, but Instagram is as popular as ever. So these companies, they are competing absolutely, and being top heavy. I mean, the market can stay top heavy and keep rising a lot longer than people can stay liquid if you, let's say, trying to short the market based on that metric that everything needs to rise together.
Yeah, I mean, Google showed, or sorry, YouTube, they showed 15% year over year growth in ad revenue. So I don't really understand that tone. Like the YouTube had 15% growth year over year. How is that, concerning?
Like I said, I didn't look at the numbers. I just know from like just personal experience of using YouTube. I'm surprised that it did that, but I would think like I'm probably gonna switch to Rumble soon and posting my content on Rumble. I'm just waiting for them to put like add a few things that I really like about YouTube into Rumble, and then I'm ready to switch. And I think a lot of people are ready to switch. But I'm surprised that their growth of YouTube ad revenue is that high. But again, Joe, I think that happened because of what I just said, what they did this year or over the last, few year, they stuffed a lot more ads, and it's really pissing people off. I think there's going to be a mass exodus out of YouTube. That's just again, that's just my speculation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason, I think it's almost like to make it painful, the amount of ads they're putting on there to push people to their premium, which also the YouTube premium, which cuts down on the ads. It
Which I
is
do
a
pay for actually, so I am contributing to their revenue.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
am I.
they saw growth in that because I think their concerted plan is to make people annoyed almost at how many ads they're sticking into the YouTube videos. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a strategy. It's a purposeful. It's not like, oh, we're just stuffing in here to because we want to generate ad revenue. It's to push premium.
Anything to add there, too?
No, I mean, Joe, I mean, you're right, Joe. It's probably what they're doing, but now they're altering their model, right? If everyone is paying for premium, then why would companies pay them to advertise on there, right? So, again, it's a different business model. Uh, People, if like right now, what they do is they share that the the money that people like me pay for premium, they share that with the advertisers that I would have watched, or like the advertising that I would have gotten that I no longer get. They share that revenue with them. But as more and more people switch to premium, and less people actually advertise, again, that could alter it, right? So I think this recent push is creating extra revenue for them, but I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think that's going to keep up.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because I think Prime is trying something too on the Amazon front. So if you have a Prime account, I noticed this last night. Prime has a ton of movies and different things video, TV shows and stuff they offer for free just by being a Prime member on Amazon. Now they have a service where they're sticking ads. It always used to be for free without any ads. Now they're sticking ads in anyone who is on to get more revenue. Anyone who's watching any Prime videos that are the free videos, and to opt out of the ads, you have to pay an additional $2.99, tack on service. So this is a trend. I think they're trying to develop more. The mega caps are trying to develop more of a subscription-based model for what they would normally offer for free. I'm told that there's similar services being offered for Facebook because I don't know if people still go on Facebook, but occasionally when I do, I'm tending to see a lot more ads. So you could actually opt out of it and see more of your friends' posts as opposed to the ads. And that's we saw that on X or Twitter. That's the new path forward for them to maximize revenue is to push more subscription. And if you can't afford the subscription, you're going to be watching half of it being ads.
So yeah, and these subscriptions add up. Like I'm paying for Google Premium, I'm paying for Amazon Prime, uh, and like these things add up. Like I don't pay for Netflix, and yeah, but like for some people, like this is like $200 in these kinds of bills. If you pay, I do pay for Telegram Premium, I pay for Twitter Premium, And I would pay Instagram premium, but they keep rejecting me. They clearly don't want my money. So surprising, but sure. I
I do
guess they
the
don't need my money based on how Meta's doing.
I do the once a year Black Friday sale for TradingView, which is anybody who doesn't have that, that's the
Same.
unbelievable deal.
You just
Same.
wait for that sale and then you buy it for the year. That's it. So I'm going to ask you about just one more company. That's it. After that, we move on. X. So I've just put a tweet in the nest. So X has obtained money transmitter license for payment services in 18 states in the US. Now, I feel this is a very, very big win for X because Elon Musk, we know he is revolutionary. He always wants to do something that people will say, this is not good, this should not have happened. Do you think X is now moving towards becoming one of the biggest crypto wallets that there is? That's how I see X in the coming years. What is he trying to achieve by this, Tone? If you have any idea.
Man, I think Elon is very ego driven, and I really like his views, his political views, his free speech views. I think he's incredible. I was very happy when he was buying Twitter, which he stupidly named X, but I'll let that go. But I don't know. Like, I don't think he's going to adopt Bitcoin or Lightning. I mean, maybe he will, but I think he sees the writing on the wall that the US is going to be an issue. And I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to go a little bit conspiratorial here. Elon has been very aggressive against the US government, even though he's a US citizen, not US born, but US citizen. And I think it's going to come a point where he's going to be forced to take X offshore. Like, X would not be an American company, it would be an international company. And he would piss off the US government to the point where he's like kicked out. And at that point, he launches his own currency. He's not going to use Doge. I mean, we know that's bullshit, and he knows that's bullshit. And I don't think he's going to use Bitcoin. I think he is eyeing the creation of his own money. I mean, his ego is that big. But in order for him to do that, he has to be disassociated from the United States. Otherwise, they're going to, arrest them under the Bank Secrecy Act. So I think he's waiting for the perfect opportunity to just launch his own token, I guess, or his own money. And